Support for WUWM podcast comes from Hop Harvest and Vine and Good Harvest Market in Pewaukee, part of One Destination, combining farm-to-table dining, local craft beers, and organic groceries under one roof. More at goodharvestmarket.com.
You're listening to Lake Effect Spotlight from WUWM, Milwaukee's NPR station. Here's one of our favorite conversations about the people, places, and organizations that shape Milwaukee.
A bitter cold snap is gripping southeast Wisconsin. Many of us are under an extreme cold warning or watch, with temperatures creeping into the negative teens. Weather-related emergencies can happen at any time, and that's why it's especially important to be prepared. Katie Rousonelos is the Public Information Officer with Wisconsin Emergency Management. She joins Lake Effect's Sam Woods to share how to prepare for winter emergencies and how to stay safe during this cold snap.
Can we start by running through a checklist of items to have on hand as cold weather approaches?
So as cold weather comes in, it's important to know what those conditions are going to be. When you have cold weather, that can be anything from winter storms that would come through with snow. That could just be extreme cold temperatures coming in. But some important things to have is to make sure that you have emergency supplies for your home and your car. These are things for your home, such as having flashlights and batteries, having emergency contact information on hand. And then for your car, important things to think about for those cold weather months are having extra blankets, extra hats and gloves in your car in case for some reason you would get stranded in those weather conditions, and having water and non-perishable food with you, like granola bars. Those are things you can just bring with you as you leave your home or work. You don't have to have those stored in your car because water freezes and it wouldn't be good to need water, and then you have a bottle of ice on hand. And then other things when cold weather approaches is to check your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. During the winter months, you're going to be using your furnace or any other heating devices in your home, and it's important to have those safety measures on hand in case something happens.
Okay, so we got extra blankets and snacks for the car, and then checking smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Are there any misconceptions about winter safety that you run into in your work that you'd like to just dispel right now?
Yeah, I mean, some of these things I've heard from older relatives or just some people in general thinking these common cold weather myths. So one of them you might have heard is you're going to lose the most body heat through your head. And while wearing a hat is good to keep your body heated, you can also lose heat from your hands or anywhere else where that body heat can escape. So it's important to have those layers. Another cold weather myth you might hear is animals with fur don't get cold. That is completely false. The general thinking is if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for your pets. So you need to make sure that there's adequate shelter with a heat source and food. And that also goes for farm animals as well. You want to make sure that they have adequate shelter and food and water available to them as well. Another cold weather myth you might have heard is drinking alcohol will keep you warm. And while you might feel a little bit warmer after you have a glass of wine or some beer, that's the blood rushing to your skin surface, but it also decreases that shivering process, which is helpful for your body to produce heat. Another thing is that alcohol can impair judgment, which can create dangerous situations.
Well, I will say that I am definitely guilty of spreading that rumor, and I will not do that anymore. So speaking of cold and shivering, how do I know when I'm just very cold versus so cold that I need to get inside ASAP?
That's a good question. When your body is shivering, if you're doing it for more than 10 or 15 minutes, that's a concern because your body then is losing heat rapidly and you're getting close to those hypothermia conditions, in which hypothermia is when your body has an abnormally low body temperature. So your body temperature is normally 98.6 degrees. So when it's really far below that, that is a huge concern. It's most likely to happen at those very cold temperatures, but it also can occur when temperatures are above 40 degrees. when a person becomes cold from whether that's rain, snow, sweat, or falling into cold water. So some of those signs that you need to look out for with hypothermia for adults and children, you're looking for excessive shivering, exhaustion, confusion, your hands are fumbling, your memory is not there, you're slurring your speech and drowsiness. For infants, you're looking at that bright red or cold skin and very low energy. So some of the things that you can do to help prevent that is simply monitoring rooms where infants might be sleeping for that type of hypothermia. And when spending time outdoors, you should be dressing in warm and dry layers. If you are wearing cotton takes a long time to dry, so be careful of wearing that if you have that on your head, if you sweat a lot. And instead, use those synthetic fabrics to wick moisture away from your skin that dry quickly.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have any tips for avoiding a slip and fall on sidewalk ice?
Yeah, for sidewalks, you want to walk like a penguin. So you kind of have your feet out a little bit wider than your normal stance. Walk a little bit more slowly and make sure you're not doing rapid movements because then you'll fall and you can cause injuries. Um, Also, maybe hold your hands out to help hold balance if you're afraid that your balance isn't there when you're walking on the ice, and that can keep you from falling down.
Now, you handle emergencies from all over the state of Wisconsin, but is there anything in particular that people in southeast Wisconsin should be aware about?
So, an important thing to note for any emergency is to always take steps to be prepared. That's making a plan to know where your safe spots are in different weather conditions, who are your emergency contacts so that you could get a hold of them. And also, where are you going to go? Like, what is your location going to be if you have to pack up and leave in case your home isn't safe anymore? Those are some important things to think about with the planning process. It's also important to make sure that you have an emergency kit that has the supplies you would need in order to possibly survive 3 days. And it's also very important to have ways to receive weather alerts, whether that's through your phone, through an NOAA weather radio, or even TV. It's very important to get those alerts so you know what's going on and local authorities are able to direct you in what to do when those situations occur.
So, Katie, if you can leave us with one thing to remember about winter emergencies, what would it be?
Yeah, I think the major thing is that winter has a variety of hazards, whether that's snowstorms, the freezing rain, or extreme cold, and to pay attention to the weather forecast so you can plan and prepare before those weather events happen.
That was Katie Rousonelos, Public Information Officer with Wisconsin Emergency Management. She spoke with Lake Effect's Sam Woods.
Lake Effect is a daily talk show on WUWM, Milwaukee's local NPR station. It's a show where we share the stories about the people, places, and organizations that shape the city. If you enjoyed this episode of Lake Effect Spotlight, subscribe to the podcast. You can find all of Lake Effect's conversations at wuwm.com/Lake Effect, and we're on the radio Monday through Friday at noon on 89.7.